Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name's Rosie King from Corporate Training Options, and our webinar today is a leadership webinar that we run on a regular basis, presented by one of our very knowledgeable presenters and facilitators, Jacky Hanan. And I'm going to hand over to Jacky now to present the webinar for us. Thank you, Jacky.
Thank you, Rosie. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining today. Everyone talks about leadership all the time and everybody wants to be a good leader, but it really is an ongoing thing that we have to do because there is new, I'm just admitting someone myself, so there's new studies coming out all the time. You can always improve on your leadership. And what I wanted to share with you today in our 10-minute session is to just quickly give you some ideas on how you can improve your leadership going forward, whether you're within a team or whether you're actually leading a very big team. You are still a leader if you're able to gain the support and the respect of your colleagues. And it's a little bit the same as at home or in personal relationships. People don't row the boat with you if they don't support or respect you. So we need to keep looking and reflecting on ourselves to see how can we get people to do what we want them to do. That's the key to leadership. So let's just start. I'm going to share my screen with you now. Has everybody got it? Thumbs up? Good-o. Okay, so let's start. Three things I'm going to reflect on in this 10 minutes, and that is reflection on your own leadership style. How well do you do at getting people to follow you, support you? The power of observation, and that again is on our side, and understanding behavioural styles of internal and external customers. And that can be in your business or even at home with your children or friends, parents. You will be able to observe their behaviours and hopefully learn to communicate more effectively with them. I want to share with you that in order for you to improve your effectiveness with others, you've got to know yourself. And after 30 years of leading small and large teams, contact centres, branches, you name it, I've been working there. I know that I have to reflect on myself all the time as a leader. I'm not always right when I'm directing people, and in which case then that's always a learning curve for me. I'm always reflecting on myself and thinking, how could I have done that better? You know, I've done a lot of leadership courses, and it's like Management 101, and you have all these great ideas on how to empower people, how to enthuse people, but you can't do it if you actually haven't looked at yourself. So the key is to know yourself, know the impression that you make on others and how your behaviour can cause tension in others. We're not all perfect. And that's the goal of a leader, is that you are constantly working to finding out what the others need so that if they come on board with you, they'll do what you want. Controlling yourself, learn to be tolerant of other people's behaviour without becoming tense. And what I mean by that is, let's just say you're in a selling mode and you want your people to sell cars. If somebody comes in and they're angry or they're haven't got time to speak to you or whatever, they're not, or people that pick up the brochures, they're the most annoying when you think they're picking up every brochure, reading every brochure, but not making a decision. It is not that they are tire kickers. It is not that they're an angry person or that they're terse or, you know, too full on. It's that their behaviour style is that they are wanting something from you, and your goal is to work out what it is that I can do to make this person buy the car. So know others, observe their behaviours, learn about the tension levels. So believe me, I can rub people up the wrong way as a leader. So that's a constant lesson for me, to be looking at how more effectively I can work with my colleagues and help them get their jobs done better. So how they respond to your messages and what you can do to make the interaction more comfortable and more effective. And then the other thing is do something for others. And what that means is, once you know what makes your colleague comfortable, you try and accommodate their preferences. For example, if you have a colleague that talks very fast and only wants to deal in facts, you have to think about that and go, okay, well, I won't ask them about the weather, or I won't ask them about how their weekend is. I'll get straight to the facts. It is a constant learning curve for all of us, and organisations such as CTO, Harvard, Stanford, everybody is constantly doing research to find the most effective way to lead people, to get them on the bus with you and drive in the direction that you want to drive. So a quick snapshot is what I'm giving you. Oh, sorry, that went a bit quick. Bit hungry for the pie. Understanding behavioural styles. So we have an internal customer and an external customer. Sometimes they might be they might be analytical, expressive, amiable, angry, assertive. Now, what I want to refer to here, we talk about this in some of our customer excellence courses and also our resolving conflict, etc., where we've come with this research, which has originated in the US, talking about that we all display a dominant behaviour, and it can be driving, analytical, expressive, or amiable. And I'm going to show you a quick snapshot of what behaviour means for us. So what are you able to look at your colleagues and see? The behaviour, it's like a pie. So the behaviour is the crust. It's what you say, which is verbal, and the non-verbal, what you observe, what I can see. Are you waving your hands? Are you not animated? Are you very serious? Everything you can see, everything you can hear. This is what we've got the tools to work on to get our employees to work better for us. The personality side, that's the combination of ideas and values and hopes and dreams and attitudes. It's the inside of the pie. So what that means is I can't observe that. So somebody could be behaving in a certain way, but their personality then comes in and can affect it in another way again. Those things we can't see. We learn over time when you're communicating with people. But the behaviour you can definitely observe. So I will try and give you a quick few tools on what this means. This axis that I'm showing you has been derived from years since the 50s of research of over 200,000 leaders. And what they discovered was that our behaviours are basically in these 4 quadrants. We can move from the different quadrants at different times, but you do display a common behaviour most of the time. All these behaviours are good. There's no bad behaviour that you display. However, what you do when you are liaising a driver person with an amiable person is really important for you, because this means, are you going to get their support and their respect? Are you going to get them to deliver what you need? And in order to do that, you have to deliver what they need. Also, if you look at this axis, it shows you that people that are analytical or driving behavioural styles, and we're going to go through what that actually means very briefly, they're more controlling of their emotions. So you'll find some CEOs or accountants or engineers are quite straight-faced and talk to you about facts and figures and results. On the other side of the axis is someone that emotes, and that is they are more towards feelings and relationships, and those people are expressives and amiables. You'll see this side, drivers and expressive people are more telling, and what that means is I will say to you, we're going to lunch at 12:30 today, Nikki. Okay, I'll see you then. Whereas if I'm asking, I'd go, hey, Nikki, what do you think about 12:30 for lunch? Does that suit you? Would you like to go? Rather than I'm telling you about lunch. So that's how you can work out that side of the axis. So let's look at one of the behaviours, and keeping in mind, I'm really closing this in, amiable people, they're emotive and they're asking, and they need personal security. They're communicative, warm, approachable, cooperative, slower paced, less disciplined about time. You might have somebody in your office that is always a yes person, that's always smiling and doesn't want to get involved in any conflict and will always say, no problem, that's fine. But you know that they're actually not going to do what you ask them to do. So what we need to do with those sorts of people is to support their feelings and relationships, make an effort to relate. So for example, when I had a colleague that was very much like that, a very soft and wants to be friends with everybody sort of personality, I would actually have to say, you know, Anita, I know we're introducing new strategies for branches. How do you feel about that? And what are the problems that you could see? And she'd say, oh no, it'll all be fine. It'll all be fine. And I'll say, well, no, Anita, I know that you actually have less staff in this area. So what are the backup strategies you're going to put in place? You need to engage these people and talk about their objections to what you're trying to do and explain to them the importance of why these new strategies are coming in. So I'm going to act friendly with Anita. I'm going to support her. I'm going to reduce my own assertiveness, let her talk, take time, get her to come out and tell me what her concerns are, and therefore providing personal commitment. I have shared a picture of my little puppy Gypsy. Expressive behaviours, they're people that are emotive and they're telling. So they're communicative, warm, approachable, competitive, faster paced, less disciplined about time, and they use opinions and take risks and are spontaneous. They're big picture people. So what you need to do with those sort of people is that you ask closed questions. I'm going to tell you I'm expressive if you haven't worked it out yet. So what that means is you need to ask me closed questions, allow interruptions, because I like to take lots of notes and find out about everything. You make efforts to build rapport, so I'm okay if you ask me about my weekend. And I need to focus, I need to minimize to much detail. So expressive people, even though they're emotive and they're telling, they need to actually concentrate on the detail. They need to pick up the pace, and you need to share their enthusiasm because they are very enthusiastic people. Analytical. So that's in that top part of the axis. They're uncommunicative, they're cool, they're independent, but they're cooperative and they use facts and avoid risks. Now, I know I shouldn't generalize, but I want to talk to you about an accountant that you might have in your mind. You'll notice that accountants generally aren't very outgoing and smiley. They're always in their office doing their numbers. So what they're looking for and what they thrive on is being right. So they're not going to care about your weekend, and they don't want to share their weekend with you either. They're disciplined about time and they're slower paced. So they will always go back over and double check things. So what you need to do is provide them information with service. So that is, if you're asking for a report, give them facts. You need to give them all the details and the data that they'll have so that they can produce the right answer for you. Avoid socializing, don't rush them, be patient, explain what you want done, and take time to be accurate. Don't muck them around and give them false information or wrong figures, because that will upset them greatly. The driving behaviour is a really interesting one. They too don't thrive on relationships. They're cool, they're independent, they're competitive, and they use facts. They take risks and other results focused. And what I'd like to say about that is people that have driving behaviours are generally CEOs, which is a bad thing to say, but it can also be other people, like even in your team. You'll find that there'll be somebody that'll just say, listen, stop mucking about, we've got to get this finished and I want to see the results that you're going to produce. So those sort of people don't want to hear about your weekends. They want to take time to be efficient, and they want you to be direct and to point. They're fast-paced, they don't waste time, they'll ask you specific questions and provide facts and data for them. Allow them to make the decision and stay business-like. So, for example, when I had a CEO, I never went to him. This was in banking, and I never went to him with a problem. I would go and say if I had made a mistake, but then I would say, however, I have done this, this, and this to solve the problem, and he would be happy. But driving people, if you go to them and say, oh, I've made a mistake and I don't know what to do, they are not going to be happy. They won't respect you and they won't support you. And hence you would cause a bit of tension within those people. So in summarising today, because this is a 10-minute session, I hope I've helped you, and by all means, we have this sort of type of information and training within our customer service excellence and our, I think we even mentioned in our telephone one, and also in the conflict one that I did recently, this thing around behaviour, what you can do to look at others and see how they behave. And then if you refer back to the types of behaviours, you can Google it as well to read up further on it. But you can see the more you reflect on your behaviour when somebody gets upset, the better you'll communicate with them next time. It's understanding yourself. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh yeah, I am a direct person, how are you going to communicate effectively with somebody that is on the opposite quadrant to you, an amiable person? How are you going to modify your behaviour to enable them to prosper and want to work with you? In our next leadership session that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to talk about a thing called versatility. So like I said to you, any of those behaviours are good behaviours. There's no bad behaviour, but it's how we modify ourselves when we're communicating with different styles is how effective you're going to be and how successful. If you have a big team, you have a lot of observing to do and a lot of changes in your behaviour, how you deal with different people. But the more that you're able to reflect on yourself and see what your need is, and then understand what the need is of the other person, the better that you're going to be able to bring people on board and get them to do what you want them to do. So again, just summarising, know yourself. Control yourself, know others, and do something for others. Work out what it is. If you're in a situation that you're not getting things done with people around you, what is it I need to do to get them to support and respect me? Okay, that was a quick snapshot. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of information. I know that Catherine is across all of this. I did this with her company some years ago. But otherwise, please, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Jacky. That was certainly very thought-provoking. And I have to tell you, in the office here, we were all sitting here watching your webinar saying, I think I'm that. And no, I think I'm that. So we were having a lot of fun here in the office. But thank you very much. A great presentation, a really good overview of how behaviour can affect your style as a leader. And I'm very much looking forward to your next webinar. Thank you everyone who joined us today, and Rosie King from Corporate Training Options signing off. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Jacky.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye for now.